Welcome to GC Cars. My name is Eric.
And I'm Jesse.
And is this MDX deserving of the Type-S badge?
Let's find out. As we all know, S stands for sport and red means fast. So,
does that fit on a Honda Pilot-based 3-row SUV though? That's the question today.
Honda Pilot.
We have a turbocharged V6 under the hood, though Brembo brakes and a bunch of other goodies. So we'll see if this is actually worth the Type-S badge. But let's first of all take a look at the exterior. This is colored in majestic black pearl.
It's black. Majestic's, you know, it's pushing it, but it's black.
It does look, I honestly love how this looks though.
Sharp, sharp, sharp.
Really good look. This is actually going to get a refresh for next year, and I don't even think it needs it. It
No,
looks good.
it doesn't.
Love the wheels.
Yep.
Red brakes with Brembo brakes on there. Of course, we got the badging. You guys actually voted on our Instagram, and you said overwhelmingly, like 90 to 10%, that this looks really good. And I think you're right. Of course, if you want to vote for the next car, just check the link in the description below. And if we go over to the rear end, once again, I think this is just completely sharp. This is a really good looking car.
Yeah, very accurate.
Oh, 100%. I love the taillights. I love our
big
wheel.
quad pipes.
And they're real. You see on all the smudge on the bottom. Yep. And of course we have our super handling all-wheel drive badge, because this is allegedly super handling.
We'll find out, I guess.
After a look at the interior.
Yeah, let's go. All right, inside the MDX, and
yeah, I do have some issues. So you see the white shot right now, the whole interior. How much do you think this costs? What if I tell you that it costs over $87,000 Canadian? That is
it's a lot of maple dollars.
It's a lot of maple dollars, and that puts us squarely into luxury territory. Just 100%. As a reminder, before us, there's kind of like 3 levels of car. So there's regular, so that's like your Ford, your Honda, and then you have premium, which is like your Mazda, and then you get luxury, which is, you know, Mercedes, BMW, Genesis, all those. $87,000 squarely in luxury territory. This interior though, I'm not able to grant it the rank of luxury.
And I mean, Acura is more of a premium brand than a luxury brand, but the pricing is kind of differing from their stance in the market.
Yeah, like if I look at some of the materials, like there's good here. However,
good.
This is just a big slab of cheap plastic, all this cheap piano black. Even up here, that's all just
It's
plastic.
not bad. This is nice up here, and again, just way too much piano black for me.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Way too much.
There's good materials, yes, like all this is leather, that's nice. Up top,
the steering wheel is really nice.
The steering wheel looks really nice. It feels great. I love our kind of metal speaker and even wood trim up here.
But then aside from the materials, the layout is kind of convoluted. It's a little too much going on here, I think.
So I appreciate it a lot being physical buttons. However, it is with this gauge, or with this gear selector, that's what it's called. This is ripped straight out of the NSX, which I guess that's where a bit of the H. It just looks like there's this black hole that just kind of consumes everything. I don't hate it, but yeah, it's a little weird. This is neat though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a good use of space, I guess.
I don't, is it? I feel like you can just point them up.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
This looks cool. It's like, oh, you need USB.
And it makes you touch that piano black, which is going to add to those smudge marks. Yay!
Speaking of touch, this is not a touch screen.
One of my biggest gripes with this, to be honest, and again, this does work, which you'll go into now.
Yeah, so I'm split on this. So you see we have this kind of like floating
armrest,
wrist rest, I guess. So you can use the touchscreen. So because this touchpad, how this works, it's actually kind of, you just got to think of this part being your screen. So you just move your finger to the equivalent part of where you'd want to touch the touchscreen. I think for Acura's like own infotainment, it actually works really well because you have big orange highlights and everything. You can use it out of your peripheral vision. However,
with that said, most people are going to use this in Android Auto or CarPlay, and that's where it falls apart.
Yeah, that's where it just doesn't really work well, because these systems are designed with touchscreens in mind. If I'm in my Google Maps and I want to get over to my to the menu, I go left, down. And down.
While you're driving? No.
While I'm driving, and it just makes it very cumbersome to navigate, which is a bit of a shame. So if we could, like, I don't mind this being on touch, but if for the Android Auto and the Apple CarPlay we can get a touchscreen back, similar to what Mazda does actually, I would much prefer that integration. But they didn't forget about making the gauge cluster pretty nice. Yeah. Like super high refresh rate. I think that's crisp 60 FPS for you right here. I think they could have done a little more with like the styling.
And it changes with the drive modes, or not
it does.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, like the color accents.
Sport Plus.
I do love those animations, however.
Yeah, cool.
They look really cool. And if you notice, we might be moving around this air suspension, something we're going to go to in a little bit. But yeah, lastly, seats. Completely forgot about these. Very comfy, actually.
They look nice. I like the accent stitching.
Yep, heated, ventilated, not simultaneously. However, we have massaging options and like a million of those. So if I just hold this button, you get all of our options. Shiatsu, step, awake, wave, fusion, lower back, upper back, rejuvenation, and zen. I don't know what all this means. It'll tell you, and you get butt massage. That's all I care about. So we are good to go in the front. Overall, I have my issues, but it is comfortable.
And also, just to note, we have memory seats on both sides.
Yes, which is really nice. 3 of them each. Leaves us up top with the sunroof that is nice and big, and a second row that is spacious.
With more piano black, yay!
More piano black, but it's not super comfortable.
Yeah, those seats, it feels like they're just poking you in your lumbar.
Yeah, and I'm somebody who, I love a lot of lumbar support.
He really does. I don't
like, he always gets into the cars when I drive, and it's like, where's this lumbar support? Yeah. But even for me, like, I get like pushed into the lower back just a little bit too much. Heated seats on both sides, sunshades if you want to pop them up manually.
2 USB-A's back there.
And a center console / third seat in the second row. You can just pop down, 2 cup holders and a bunch of storage, which extends to the third row, which is okay.
Tight. I mean, again, it's not made for adults.
Yes.
If you're over 6 feet, just don't go back there.
Yes.
For like an average-sized human being, it works. For a short trip, for children, it's probably totally fine.
Yeah, so the footage you're seeing is with the seats all the way back. The second row seats, you can always slide them forward a little bit. I like there's good amounts of footroom, headroom, even for me at 5'7", especially once I start leaning to the sides a little bit. Does get tight. You do, however, have a cup holder. You do have USB-A's on both sides. So I could live in there for a little bit, but it's on longer trips. It's definitely more meant for kids. Leaving us with trunk space, 18 cubic feet of space with a third row up, which is okay.
It's fine.
It's more deep than it is tall because it does slope a little bit, so be careful if you have larger items. However, if you put down the third row, you get 48 cubic feet of space, and if you put down the second row, actually a lot, 95 cubic feet of space, which I think for a midsize SUV is definitely one of the top contenders out there. So good on them for making lots of room. However, this is a Type S badge. Let's put it into Sport.
Plus.
Do once more. Shit. There you go. There we go. Sport Plus. Let's hit the road and see how quick this is. I don't know, something like that. Let's go. All right, now out on the road in the Acura MDX Type-S. We're in Sport Plus. Traction control is off. I'm going to brake torque and see how quick we go.
Posturing up. Okay.
There we go. There comes the boost. And
not too bad.
And we have Brembo brakes, so why don't we test them? Oh, I caught you in a bad moment, didn't I?
Oh.
The brakes are really good.
I think it definitely slows down faster than it speeds up.
So, okay, like the speed is good. It's coming from a 3-liter turbocharged V6 producing 355 horsepower, 354 pound-feet of torque, sent through a 10-speed automatic to all 4 wheels.
Kind of wishing it had a little more torque.
Considering this is the Type S, you know, and like the sporty version, I'm like it's quick, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't blow me away.
No. Seeing as other vehicles in the same category, their sporty versions have more power.
Yeah, like it's just, and it's always for me that price is looming, you know? That price is looming. So we already kind of established that the interior isn't there for the price. So the way to make up for that is with sportiness, driving dynamics, speed. Oh, at least on the speed side, you know, it's not bad, but not bad's not really what I'm looking for.
For that price, no.
Yeah, but let's see if we put it back into Sport Plus. How quickly does this turn around corners? I'm actually gonna manually shift this without paddle shifters. Or it just overrides me. Okay, cool. That's all right. And let's see what it does in a nice left-hand turn. It's got a lot of grip.
Okay.
And pushes us up pretty good. So it does handle really well. And I actually like the steering from like a reaction kind of point. The suspension does a good job. It's not very communicative overall though. So I don't feel the need to really push it around corners. To like, it doesn't have the engagement part. It's capable.
It is a bigger vehicle though, so.
Yes, that is true. It's just, I don't know, it's just like, it's all right. Like
I feel like we're struggling to justify its place.
If this would be priced differently, I wouldn't have these nitpicks. But for like, I'm just like, I don't know, for $87,000, I'm just missing that edge somewhere, you know?
I don't want to be too critical, but I feel like it's almost like imposter syndrome.
Impossible.
But like with the S badge, like, are you trying too hard to be something you're not?
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Or maybe that's too harsh. I don't know.
you know what? Why don't we slow down, swap seats, talk about some daily driving, and maybe that'll save it.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
So I guess for daily driving, suspension's a pretty important thing.
And we got the air suspension, like we already mentioned. And I think actually it does a really good job. I think it's a very comfortable
Definitely.
ride at all points. And like we said, in the handling part, it does a pretty good job of keeping the car stable. There's a bunch of body roll, obviously it's an SUV.
Of course.
However, it's pretty good. What do you think of the brakes?
Good. No complaints.
Right?
Not too harsh.
Isn't it funny that so many manufacturers are just terrible at brakes that it's actually like an important point for us to point out?
They're all
brakes,
so different.
yeah, and most of them suck. Actually,
That's true.
Honda, I think Honda, and by that regard, Acura, aren't they one of the very few ones we always like their brakes?
Yep.
Good job, Acura. You make great brakes.
Justifies the price point.
Right, that's it. There you go, right away. Okay, so suspension's pretty good. Noise-wise, it's I think about average for the price point. It's good. It doesn't stand out, but it's definitely not loud. Tech-wise, lastly, for notable tech, we do have Acura's semi-autonomous driving system, decoupled from cruise control, so you may use it at any point. It'll acquire the lane, steer for you, and just require input every now and then. Works well, like it. But yeah, that price point, $87,000.
I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, honestly.
It's just like, okay, I like this car.
Yeah, there's nothing to hate about this car.
Just from like an objective standpoint, if I just see the car without the price, I like this car. There's a lot to like, just like I like the Honda Pilot, which this is based on. But it just puts it up in the luxury segment, and it doesn't have the speed or the driving dynamics to justify the price point where it stands out and you can say, okay, the interior is a little worse, however, it drives better than the competition. It doesn't really, and it doesn't have the interior for it either.
Yeah, it needs to excel at something. Either has to excel at performance or excel at luxury experience in the cabin.
And it just, personally, it just doesn't. Like, for this price point, I'd go with a mid-trim GV80, which has
100%.
V6. It'll be speed-wise the same. Will it be just as nice to drive? No, but it'll be way more luxurious, more comfortable. CX-90 is good if you want to save a little money. You get probably still a nice interior, minus your massaging seats.
I think the interior is nicer and more refined on the CX-90.
I agree. Sorry, I agree.
Yeah.
It is nicer, minus the massaging seats, a little less space overall because the CX-90 is a bit compromised in that regard. But I think it drives really nice, and that inline six is really good. So yeah, that's where I'm just like, okay, I think either you step down to the CX-90 or you go for GV80. I don't think you're quite touching like Mercedes and BMW, because that's you really just starting off at base GLE and X5, where
compromising.
Yeah, these too many features are just gone, and you have like shitty 2 liters. So I'm like, eh. But
Acura.
I'm sorry, guys. I like this. No, it's a little too much.
Question: do you think that this deserves a Type-S badge or not?
Yeah, let us know. Would you pick the GV80 over this or the CX-90, or do you think this actually makes a compelling argument? As always, if you want to support us, like, subscribe, and comment. Comments are actually really helpful for the YouTube algorithm now, so just let us know your opinion.
Even if you tell us we suck.
Yeah, like, honestly, that helps.
Helps our ego. So
helps our ego. Anyhow, one more last cent.
That's it. That's full.
There you go. That's all right. And that is the Acura MDX Type-S. Thank you for watching this video on JC Cars. Pure testosterone! Oh! What the is this piece of shit?
If you guys like the video, don't forget to hit the bell and subscribe. Should I just drive into a tree now, or?
And we'll see you next Friday at 8:15 a.m. Eastern for a whole lot more fun. Bye-bye.